station, Sirius XM 80. And Jordan had this to say about the Giants' plan at the quarterback position.
They're still looking at the veteran quarterbacks. They're waiting on Aaron Rodgers just like they were before. And now they at least have a veteran quarterback that they know they could start if they need to. Look, they're just going to add as many bodies at the position as possible. That's the conclusion that I've come to here. It could be in free agency. It could be multiple veterans. It could be in the draft. Just keep stacking at the position as much as possible, because the reality is all these veteran quarterbacks, none of them are the answer long-term anyway, right? The only thing that ultimately matters is the Giants find their quarterback of the future, which is when John Mara spoke at the end of the season. He said three things. Number one, he called out the defense. If the defense wasn't very good, what they do, they signed a bunch of defensive guys. He said they needed offensive line depth. They signed a bunch of depth offensive linemen, right? The other thing he mentioned, he said this was the number one priority this offseason, was find a quarterback of the future. So that's still going to be the goal, but add as many veterans, help as much protection as possible. That seems to be the plan here at the quarterback.
If only they would have taken a quarterback in 2018 when they needed one after Eli Manning. When Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were both drafted. If only they would have thought about it.
Wait, I want to ask a follow-up on that.
It's maddening to me.
You seem despondent.
It's maddening to me because they had the second overall pick in a draft that saw 5 quarterbacks go in the first round, 4 in the top 10, and they took a running back that they did not re-sign when he was scheduled to go into free agency. It's ridiculous. That's the start of all of the problems. Because they didn't take a quarterback in that draft. They reached for a quarterback in the following draft, taking Daniel Jones. They decided to double down on Daniel Jones and pay that guy a long-term contract, only to cut him 2 years later. Well, not even a year, not even 2 years, a year and a half later. It's ridiculous. It's maddening. It frustrates me to no end to think about what the New York Giants could have been if they had taken a quarterback in 2018 when it was clear and obvious that Eli Manning was done, that he was getting ready to ride off into the sunset. They didn't. They took a running back with an offense that had a terrible offensive line, didn't get the best ROI on said running back, and then the opportunity cost of passing on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, 2 guys that would go on to win MVPs, is insane. It's insane.
Yeah, they should have had a Packers-like approach where they were planning for the future while being in the present.
Smalls, they could have took a quarterback in 2018. They could have took a quarterback in 2020. You could be blindfolded just throwing darts in the general direction and hit on one. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
They had an opportunity to draft Justin Herbert. They had an opportunity to draft Jalen Hurts. They had an opportunity to draft Jordan Love. I don't love Tua, but they had an opportunity to draft him.
Better than what they have now.
It's better than anything that they have now on the board. And I'm sure that draft experts would say all of those quarterbacks would have had higher grades than the quarterbacks that are coming out in this year's class. No disrespect to Cam Ward, no disrespect to Shedeur Sanders. Hell, you might not even have a chance to draft either one of those guys because you got the 3rd pick and you won a game that you had no business winning with against the Indianapolis Colts. I don't understand the Giants' logic. It feels like they get into this position where they get desperate and they reach, and it ends up being a situation that sets the franchise back even further.
So what do you think of their current plan, as Jordan just outlined, to just stack bodies at the position until they hit on their quarterback of the future? And by the way, I know different regimes during the length of time that you're discussing here, but do you have confidence that if they draft that guy, that they're going to draft the right guy?
Different regimes, but the same. And no, I don't, because they're making decisions based on job security, not based in the best interest of the long-term health of the franchise. And that's why I thought that the Giants should have moved on from Joe Shane and Brian Daboll after the season was over with. Instead, they waited a couple days, they took a beat, and they decided to release the letter saying those 2 would be back, which is them throwing up the signs saying our head coach and general manager starting 2025 on the hot seat. And if your goal is to stabilize the quarterback position long-term, why would you then have a head coach and a general manager that might not make it through the next upcoming season?
So as a former Giant like you are, clearly not breaking news, very frustrated by what's going on here.
Yes.
What fixes that for you? Or let me rephrase. Who fixes that for you? If Shedeur Sanders is their quarterback, if Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback, if Russell Wilson is their quarterback, if they fail this year, Arch is their quarterback.
I love Shedeur Sanders. You know that.
So he's, in your mind, the fix. He changes the culture. He changes the mentality. He changes the approach. He's one of these people that seemingly brings people with him, not against him.
Yes, I want to say yes to all of those things. Mm-hmm. But again, you're drafting a quarterback with a head coach and a general manager on a hot seat. That's not the best way to develop a quarterback.
You're right.
More quarterbacks are ruined than made. Now,
He's different, though.
I believe that.
Mentally, this man had no choice but to be way beyond his years because of everything in his life.
That is true. But I also know that playing in the NFL is different. Mm-hmm. The caliber of athlete that you're competing against is different. I played with the quarterback in David Carr who got the career knocked out of him in his rookie year. Oof. He got sacked 76 times.
My goodness.
He was never the same. You can do irreparable harm to a quarterback, to any player, but specifically a quarterback, if the organization, if the infrastructure around him isn't right. Even somebody that's as mentally and physically tough as Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'm not wishing that on the kid.
Right, I understand.
And I want Shedeur to succeed in the best way possible in the NFL. What I'm saying is this. He's the type of guy that I would want because I do believe he's an agent of change. Mm. But with the head coach and the general manager on the hot seat, I don't know that you wouldn't be doing a disservice to Shedeur in terms of stunting what could be his growth and evolution in the NFL. I love Shedeur as a prospect. But based on where the Giants are at right now, I'm not too sure that they shouldn't just take the best available player on the board.
And then do what at the quarterback position?
Wait for Arch Manning next year.
Roll with Jameis?
Wait for Arch Manning. Wait for a new head coach. Wait for a new general manager. Let them start fresh. Isn't that what we say about functional franchises? They have the GM, head coach, quarterback all on the same timeline. Isn't that what we want?
So then there would be... Then you expect this regime to be back, to be able to be in a position, even if they
Well, I'll tell you what, if they end up, if Brian Daboll and Joe Shane end up coming back without drafting a quarterback with the third overall pick, they would have wildly exceeded expectations and they would have earned an opportunity to draft a quarterback at that point. I just don't see a path to them getting there. Mm-hmm. I don't.
If ESPN Bet were to put up an over-under on Jameis starts next year for the Giants, what would the number be?
I would say the over-under would be 6.5.
Would you take the over or under?
I'd go under. I think they're going to draft somebody.
That's going to be the day one starter?
No, I think Jameis, I think, will start for a few games, and then whomever they draft, I think
that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. Like, I think Jameis is going to start some games, multiple games for the New York Giants. I don't know if he's going to start all the games. I don't know if they're going to take a quarterback. It's a dicey position that they're in right now, and that's why I hated the fact that they brought back the GM and the head coach.
We got to see if our friends at ESPN Bet can actually put that up.
Yeah.
If we could put up the over-under on Jameis Winston starts for the Giants next year, because that is a juicy one with all the Rodgers rumors, with Shedeur and the internet rumors. Deion wants to New York. Like, maybe, maybe not. Deion wants a great situation for his son, just like any parent would. But the